Welcome to Devotion Diaries, where I do these daily experiments of tossing out a question to life and seeing what it shows me. And today, we finally have our flowers! Yay! So I got really into flowers back in March of 2023 when I was figuring out how I could balance working my side hustle, which is the current business that I'm running, as well as my corporate job. I found that I was so much in my head that I kind of disconnected from life. And it wasn't until I listened to a podcast by Jay Shetty. And in this podcast, he was talking about how he plays this game with himself. In this episode, he was talking about how he always goes down the same walking route every morning. And he found that he was kind of dissociating, not really being present. And so what he did was every time he was on this walk down the same path, he would intentionally look for something new. And so each time he would make note of all the things that he didn't see in his last walk. And so he kind of had his mind focused on another task outside of just focusing again on all your thoughts. So I really got into flowers because I was looking for something to kind of ground me in my walks. And it happened to be right around March, April time where the flowers started to bloom. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised because in my head, I never considered New York a place of flowers. I assume it's a concrete jungle. But I was pleasantly surprised by the lining of flowers all around my neighborhood, in the park. And it was just so inspirational and beautiful, and honestly was the best days, or at least the best moment of my day. And funny enough, I have been trying to do floral arranging for quite some time and create videos for it. But there's something where I kind of get a little snagged up on it because flowers to me have always been that one thing about me that I never want to bring into my work or into my creativity. I just want to be able to enjoy it for its beauty. But of course, as life works and as the universe always loves to turn the heat up, I have been kind of called to start doing these a bit more and to kind of share reflections as I am doing them. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to multitask. It's really hard, ouch. And so this is the first reflection, which is talking about the inception of flower of the day. And so, as I said, I started to take pictures of these lovely flowers, and it was surprising to see how it took off, how other people would send me pictures of their own flowers that they would find on their walks. And it was beautiful to see that that's something that we all as humans have in common. Like, a flower is so beautiful, you can't hate it. But what followed after that time, which was around March of 2023, was that I decided to take a leap of faith and leave my corporate job and to pursue my business full time. And while at the time I thought it was a very great idea, I had one client and they weren't even a paying client. But I will say something that I do admire about myself is how ballsy I am, because I told myself that I finally found something that, oh my God, look at this one, she's gone. Anyways, I ended up telling myself that for the first time, I finally felt seen by something, a type of work that allowed me to utilize my skill sets in a way that is not just for capitalistic purposes, but really for healing purposes. And most importantly, it was the first time that I took a decision solely from my heart, despite what the outside may have looked. Did I have any savings? No. Did I have credit card debt? Yes. But I had a nickel and a dream, and that was all that mattered. And let me tell you, once you finally make that decision for yourself, regardless of the what ifs and all the naysayers that told you that it wasn't the smartest idea, I just realized how I ended up having the most magical summer of my life. I was able to be disciplined to the point of ensuring that I was building my business, but also very much focused on my own fulfillment and being able to find time for myself to engage with New York in a way where I'm not solely just going out with people and doing things and trying to be in the scene, but trying to cultivate my own connection to the city and have my own little spots. Look how beautiful this is. And it was so beautiful because during that summer, and honestly, if I really do think about it, it was the first summer ever in my life where I didn't have a full-time job. So it felt like I had a summer vacation for the first time. And let me tell you, I capitalized on that a lot. Every day I woke up at 5 a.m. like I typically do. I had kind of my creative work done in the morning. And then right after that, right around noon, I would go on a lovely walk. And in this walk, I just truly fell in love with the city every day. I started to notice all of the signs and all the things that I used to have worries about were all of a sudden kind of shown to me in a way where I felt reassured. Like I got answers from the universe. I was able to meet random people and have conversations with them that ended up being clients. It literally felt like I was a walking magnet of luck. And that lasted for at least 2 months. You know, I think June and July, amazing. And then something happened in August when the magic started to run a little bit low and then panic set in. At this point, I allowed my inner child to run a little rampant and wasn't really thinking from a long-term planning perspective. And so once I kind of had the first set of clients close out their contracts, I didn't have any backups. I wasn't really thinking about a sales funnel. I wasn't really thinking about engaging with other people because I just thought, oh, you got it. Like all you have to do is go outside and a client will fall into your lap. And the lie detector determined that that was a lie. Oh. Instead, I started to scramble because for the first time ever, it kind of clicked. I'm responsible for my livelihood. And to be honest, I wasn't being the most responsible adult about it. And so a summer of magic quickly turned into a fall of panic, and I just worked my ass off to put myself out there, get as many clients as possible, but I just was not running into any luck. And prior to that, something I held true to myself, or at least tried to hold true to myself, was that I didn't want to build my business based off of the typical kind of marketing or sales strategies that other brands did, because I left that world for a reason. And so I was fighting myself in this old world where I knew that these are the ways that I could acquire people. And I did fall for that, right? I'm not gonna lie, I did. But what I realized was that when I actually ended up doing that, the clients that I was actually able to secure from that typical traditional sales funnel sucked. No offense if y'all hear that though. I started to dilute the quality of work that I did. I started to dilute my frameworks. I wanted to fit into a mold so desperately because I didn't have any money. And as a first generation eldest daughter who's lived her whole life taking care of herself, it was a very big slap to the face and a bruising to my ego. And for the first time in a long time, I had to ask people for money, and that sucked because I wore that as a badge of honor to be able to be financially independent for so many years of my life. And that was always my goal. I never wanted my mom or my dad to worry about me because there's 7 other me's behind that they should be focused on. And so this was right around October of 2023. And honestly, at this point, I completely forgot that I had magic in me. I was so focused on just now trying to prove myself to people, because what I realized was that so many people around me, when I did kind of express my concerns and doubts about my ability to provide for myself, their first reaction was to go back and get a corporate job. Bitch. And absolutely no shade to those that did recommend that to me, but at the end of the day, I would always start these conversations by telling them how fulfilled I am about doing the work that I am doing. However, I'm just not seeing that translated in my external world right now. And in that moment, I was looking for emotional reassurance, but I was met with problem solving, which is very fair, right? I get that people jump straight into that. I have those tendencies as well. But when I was bombarded with kind of that response, whenever I would express how I was feeling, I kind of put up this shield where I kind of was like, F y'all, I'm gonna do this, and I kind of had a chip on my shoulder. So of course I doubled down and I just put myself out there in every single possible way that there could be. And it wasn't until January of 2024 where I had physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted, and spiritually, all of my potential options. Ow. So now I am faced with one of the biggest fears of my life, which is that I failed. And specifically, I failed my family. So I had to go back home to Atlanta, which I haven't been back home, or at least lived in Atlanta since I graduated college, which was like in 2017. And so it was a very big shock to me, and it was also probably one of the greatest gifts that I could have given myself. Because in that whole journey of going back home, I was able to heal so many family wounds that I had. I was able to reconnect with my siblings and get to know them as the adults that they are now, because when I left Atlanta, they were kids. And so it was really beautiful to be able to kind of re-establish a connection to home. And then when I did come back and I went through that whole season of craziness and chaos of living in New York and kind of just losing a lot of friends and, being extremely lonely, I had to then go through a season of establishing my foundation. And that process started probably from September of 2024 up until honestly now. And it is so great that I can now do this video and kind of reflect back to the initial inception of Flower of the Day and take a note of all the things that I've experienced because of these beautiful flowers and what they've kind of introduced into my life. Now that I have a solid foundation and I've been able to create systems of care to support me and nourish me throughout my day, as well as having that inner vision of where I am going, I am so excited that that summer or that year of magic is really starting to reemerge again. I will also have to say that because I went through a season of releasing a lot of people, places, and things from my life and then having to kind of reestablish a connection to them, I kind of realized that at the end of the day, what matters is inside. My insides feel really beautiful right now, and I am very blessed that I get to share that with you all every day. And I think that in me sharing more, it's allowed me to access more of my magic. And so, yeah, I feel very grateful to have at least given myself this morning to share my lovely Flower of the Day journey with you all and to make this beautiful bouquet. And honestly, maybe there'll be more of it. Okay, bye. One last little thing. Look how cute this is. Aren't I so good? Okay, maybe I can move this a little though. I feel like that's been irking me. Oh, where do I want to put her though? Oh, no. No. Oh, I'll stick her right here. There we go. There we go. Now look at that. Amazing. Okay, bye.